It's Monday, June 9th, 2025, and time for your Monday market update. Thanks so much for watching. We're going to take a quick look at your McHenry County numbers for the last 7 days before we dive into the housing market. We've got 208 new listings. I don't remember the last time that I had new listings starting with the number 2. So we are way up for new listings over the last few years, certainly. We had 153 under contract. That is a pretty big discrepancy there. We had 128 closed sales, 61 price changes, 2 expireds, 54 currently on the private network. So certainly we are getting more inventory. I also just dove into the prices this week, and we're seeing some changes happen there as well. So we're in the middle of what we call a shift. Now, the housing market is always shifting. It's always changing. It's never going to be the same year over year. And I remember when I was a new mom and my sister-in-law said to me, babies are so difficult because just when you think that you've gotten them figured out, they change. Well, I feel the same way about the housing market. Just when I think I've got it all figured out, it changes. So we're always on this pendulum swinging from one market to the next. And you know, everybody of course wants to buy low and sell high, but timing the market is almost impossible. And very, very rarely is it a short game. Real estate is almost always the long game. In fact, historically speaking, there has never been a time in history where homes have not appreciated in value over a 10-year period. But of course, when we had COVID, things changed rapidly. Well, we have seen a 65% growth in prices since January of 2025 in McHenry County. So prices are up 65% from that time. Now, they are also correcting right now. So I just looked at prices over the last 2 months. We've seen them go down very, very slightly. So not a lot. So it's not like we're seeing huge price reductions, but we're seeing that growth start to curb a little bit. So what we're really anticipating is that this is going to continue. We're seeing more homes hit the market. Most sellers are also buyers. So when interest rates are higher, that causes people to step back. We've also had more people hesitate because it is very hard in this market to time the sales. Before COVID, we often had people buying and selling on the same day. They would sell their home in the morning and then they would make their purchase in the afternoon. Once COVID happened and we saw prices skyrocket and we saw the inventory tightening and it was more competitive and we saw this surge of cash buyers and we saw, you know, multiple offers on almost every property, well, the home sale contingency situation pretty much went by the wayside. I think we are going to start to see that come back to where we are going to see a lot more transactions happening with a home to sell, which is fine. That's how we did it. Like almost every transaction happened that way in the pre-COVID era. But since then, we just have not seen that, which has made it very stressful for buyers. It has also kept some people on the sidelines because if you have to sell a house in order to buy a house and you can't do that the way that you want to, well, then it might prevent you from being involved in the housing market altogether. But as the market starts to shift a little bit, we might see the return of home sale contingencies being accepted, which may bring more people back to the market because anybody that's been unable to participate in the market because it's been too competitive, well, it might give them an opportunity. So as we see this sort of long haul of the market changing ever so slightly, right? Prices kind of leveling out, not going up like they were, more inventory on the market, having a less competitive market, still a strong housing market, but just less competitive than it's been in the last 5 years, we might actually see some normalization of our market, which would probably be a good thing because having it be quite so competitive has been really difficult for a lot of people. So it's not to say that we aren't having homes sell. It's not to say that homes are, it's a bad time to be in the real estate market. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that it's shifting, it's changing. We're seeing market time increases. We're seeing prices kind of level out. Maybe they're coming down a little bit. We're seeing less competitiveness in the market, and that's all, for the benefit of overall for everyone. So if you're thinking about selling, you're thinking about buying, don't be concerned. It's just that it's not the same. It's not 2022 anymore. And as things get more expensive and interest rates are holding where they're at, they haven't gone up, but they also haven't come down. And then as prices of everything else have gone up, it just overall expenses have gotten tighter for a lot of people. We just talked to a buyer last week who said, gosh, everything has just gotten so expensive. It's really hard. Yes, we want to move, but we have a home to sell, and to do this 2 homes at the same time thing is really scary. We don't know if we want to do that. There's a lot of uncertainty, so we're kind of going to sit on the fence. So we have a lot of people sitting on the fence. Now, keep in mind, if interest rates drop, or if they start to come down at all bets are off. Everything will go back to the way it was in 2022. We will go back to seeing multiple offers. We will see prices go up. We will see inventory shrink. All of that will happen if interest rates go down. So keep that in mind. As of right now, they've been very steady this year. They've been between, the high 6s, 6.8, 6.9, 7, somewhere right in there. They haven't changed a whole lot. If that changes, that will drastically impact the demand in our market, and we'll see those prices start to go back up again. So if that happens, then we'll see. But that's where we're at right now. It's very level, very steady as she goes. Not selling a whole lot of houses this year overall as a nation. We're going to sell about 4 million homes nationwide, which is less transactions than we've had last year or the last few years. In fact, it's the lowest level that we've had since 1995. So that is expected to continue. So if you're a real estate agent, it's real tough. If you're a buyer or a seller and you don't have to sell, then you're fine. If you're a buyer or seller and you do want to sell, then, just things to keep in mind when you're pricing. You have to make sure that you know what the market's doing so that you can price effectively to sell your home quickly. I'm Miranda Alt. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your Monday. Bye-bye.